Hi everyone, on Saturday, October the 25th, a 10-race extravaganza on ITV on Saturday. Matters slightly complicated by the weather. Cheltenham on the easier side, Newbury heading that way too. Doncaster, it's actually heavy. It's going to be pretty desperate up there. Small stakes recommended. We start off with our daily nap, sponsored by Priced Up Bet. This goes in the 255 at Cheltenham, a 3-mile handicap hurdle. And I think Marchand is a very interesting runner here for Emma Lavelle. Now, no yard, well, perhaps Ollie Murphy, but Emma is absolutely flying as well. She's had 6 winners from her last 12 runners, 50% strike rate, and this progressive novice looks on a really attractive opening mark, I think, ahead of this handicap debut. Sure to be fully fit given how well the yard's going. Loads more improvement in the tank after just 5 career starts over hurdles, and the top class Harry Cobden is booked for the ride, which really does catch the eye. Marchand 2 open to a lot more improvement, granted a proper test of stamina, and gets it here over 3 miles on ground that could get quite testing, I'd imagine, if they get some of the showers that are forecast, certainly on the lead up to Saturday. Our value angle selection, sponsored by Priced Up Bet, goes in the 110 at Cheltenham. It's a 2-mile, 4-furlong novice handicap chase. I do like Major Fortune here. I think he's a very interesting runner for Dan Skelton. Now, Dan, some of them have been needing a run. It has to be said that's the case. He's had 4 winners, though, in the last 14 days. I think some of them have been ridden with an eye on the future, it's fair to say. But this winning hurdlers remains open to loads more improvement after just 4 starts over fences so far, and I do think he's likely to be fit for this valuable prize with Harry Skelton booked. Now, he's shaped really well. If you look back at his run at Leicester back in March, he finishes second there. He was ridden by Tristan Durrell. Tristan didn't have that much experience at the time. He's a much more finished article here, but he was pretty quiet on Major Fortune. He was a huge market drifter, but he shaped nicely under a patient ride. He is one of those horses who gets dropped out. He's a proven stayer at further. I like that at Cheltenham. I think with the clean round of jumping, he must go close from what is a pretty lenient handicap mark. The remaining 8 races on ITV on Saturday, we'll spin through them in time order, starting at Doncaster in the 130, a 5-furlong handicap. I think the one thing to say here is that Rosario will go on the ground, and it's going to be heavy at Donny. Kieran Fallon's been booked, comes here on the back of a career best effort, I think, when second at Ascot last time out. It was pretty soft that day. It's going to be quite a lot deeper. Donny's one of those tracks, in my opinion, they overwater there regularly. Now they've actually got a deluge of rain. It's going to be as desperate as it gets. So small stakes recommended, but I think Rosario is the clear form choice. Back to Cheltenham for the 145, a 3-mile novice hurdle. Lots of mixtures of form lines here. It's hard to get a grip on them. I'm not sure the ratings are going to be much of a guide, but I do think Miss Goldfire is definitely overpriced at around about 16 to 1. Now, Harry Fry, a trainer I really like. He doesn't waste his entries. He places his horses carefully, and he maintains a good strike rate result. I think it's the sort of yard over the next month or two could really catch fire, hopefully, Harry. And this mare, well, she hasn't been out for 5 months, but I'm sure she'll be fully wound up for this run. She's been running in handicaps with credit. I think this bigger field and test of stamina will suit her. Kieran O'Shea's booked, a very promising young rider. I think Miss Goldfire's definitely overpriced and will be bang there jumping the last. Back to Donny for the Futurity, a 1-mile Group 1. It's impossible really to have a strong opinion. All the money's been for Benvenuto Cellini from the Aidan O'Brien yard. Aidan is absolutely flying at the moment. His horses are on fire. He's virtually had every entry for this race. I like the fact that Benvenuto Cellini has winning form on testing ground. That's a big plus, and the market move's probably significant. Again, tiny stakes if you play. Back to Cheltenham for a 3-mile 1-furlong handicap chase. I like Rock My Way. He was a very progressive stayer last season. He rounded off a really good season with an excellent 5th in the Scottish Grand National at Ayr. Obviously, he's right back to 3-mile 1 here, but the fact he does stay a lot further and they go at proper gallop will definitely suit him. He's bound to be pretty straight. Brendan Powell's book. We're hoping for a good afternoon for Brendan, and I think Rock My Way will go very close with a clean round of jumping. Back to Donny for the 240, a 6-furlong listed contest. Well, Spanish Waltz ticks all the boxes here. He's a 2-year-old. He's only had a couple of starts, which is a big plus at this stage of the season. Rafe Beckett's still going well, 5 winners in the last fortnight. The only workmanlike in landing the odds at Ponty last time, but that's the nature of Ponty. It's a very stiff track. Nothing wins on the bridle there, generally speaking, and he showed that heavy ground was fine when finishing second on his debut at Foss Lass. It doesn't get much deeper than Foss Lass, though we might be about to see it at Donny on Saturday. Back to Newbury now for the 310, the 7-furlong Group 3 Horace Hill Stakes. A small field, boiling over. He's obviously well up in class here into Group 3. He's been running in handicaps. With that York race last time out, we finished second in. There was a really strong nursery and he pulled far too hard initially, dropped out in rear and didn't quite see things out. I thought he did really well to challenge. I think the key here, and Carl's such a shrewd operator, dropping him back to 7 furlongs will definitely suit him. Now, on the ratings, he might have a bit to find, but I think he'll go very close here as long as the ground doesn't get too deep. He's unproven on really testing ground. Back to Cheltenham, a disappointing turnout for the 2-mile Masterson Holdings hurdle. It's a strange little race. I did think Larico did go into the notebook when finishing 3rd on his debut at Uttoxeter for Danny's an ex-French performer. He was a big market drifter and ridden accordingly at Uttoxeter. This is on paper a better race, but I do think Larico is a horse with some potential, and I think it's significant that Dan's entered him up in this race. He's certainly one to keep an eye on going forwards. And finally, we head back to Newbury for the 3:45, a 1-mile 4 furlong group contest, the St Simon Stakes. Very testing conditions, quite possible by the end of the card, looking at the weather forecast. And I think Rafe Beckett can strike here with the filly Revoir. Now, she's been pretty hard to place. She's one of those twilight fillies that falls between being good enough to win group races and too high a rating to go into handicaps with any effectiveness, but she did run an absolute screamer one start back in France when finishing 2nd, and I think Eddie Greattracks gets on well with her and should go really close here. Her stamina is well proven over this trip, and that could count for plenty up the long Newbury Straight. Best of luck with all 10 ITV races on Saturday, everyone. Please do like and comment on the YouTube video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do check out our sponsor Priced Up Bet, who have got numerous offers and enhanced prices on these big Saturdays.